Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. My name is Ricky Hill, and I am the one and only e-recruiter here at UC Merced, and I am so excited to welcome you to this great event, part of our Discover UC Merced series that is a virtual series. Tonight, we will be focused on the School of Social Sciences, Humanities, and Arts, and we also refer to that as SHA, as you see on your screen. Before we get started, let me give you a couple of quick Zoom refreshers. If you need to adjust your audio settings, you can do that in the lower left corner of your screen. If you'd like to at any time zoom in on your screen for anything that we may be showing you, click on View Options in the upper portion of your screen and you can adjust the size of your window. We also have a special feature tonight, as always, and we would like to answer your questions live. So go ahead and click on the Q&A button located on your screen. Send in your question, and we have a special portion saved at the end of our presentation to get to those answers live. We also are fully staffed behind the scenes with content experts who may also be able to get to those questions throughout the presentation. Once again, my name is Ricky Hill, your e-recruiter. We are so thrilled and welcoming you tonight to talk about the School of Social Sciences, Humanities, and Arts, or SHA. At this time, I'd like to hand things over and get our presentation started by handing it to Dean Gilger.
Thank you, Ricky. It's a pleasant experience to be here tonight. I'm Jeff Gilger. I'm the Dean of the School of Social Sciences, Humanities, and Arts, or SHA, and that's the way I'll refer to it from now on. It is a great pleasure to be here, and you're going to meet some people from SHA, our staff, and some of our students. And in addition to those people, you're going to have some people in the background that do our advising and other things on campus, and you just met Ricky a second ago. With me tonight are several people, like I said, some students as well as some of SHA's staff. We have Brenda Maldonado Rosas. She's our lead student services and advisor staff person in the school. And we have Carolyn Barranco, academic advisor and our student engagement coordinator. Now, let me say one thing really quick about our staff. We are not like many other campuses. Our staff are directly engaging with students. It takes student success and student life very seriously. And if you come to us and you get to meet these people, you're going to find they're very cordial, very smart, and very helpful. So I hope you will come here, and I hope you will meet them someday soon. Okay, we also have some students with us, each one of them, Bernice, Helen, and Lauren, will introduce themselves later and give you a little bit of background about their lives. But they are students here on campus, and frankly, we've done these things over the years, and we recognize that really the most important thing for you to hear from are our students. And they can tell you about life here on campus, what it's like in our majors, and what it's like to be here in Merced and engage with the community. There's lots of stuff to do around here. There's the mountains not too far away. We have the ocean not too far away. In fact, we're just about smack dab in the middle of California. So anything you want, in California at least, is really close by, and you can go and enjoy all those activities. So there's going to be some material shared with you, some details, as well as just some quick overview things. I'm the one that's going to do some quick overview stuff. But after me, we end up telling you about departments and programs. You'll also hear some things about internships and extracurricular activities. And then we have a student panel and Q&A right after those things. And so stay on and get your questions answered. I think Ricky mentioned we have chat options as well. So why would you come to UC Merced, or why come to SHA in particular? And you can read that little summary up there about our mission statement and what we do. It's a nice summary. We put this together some years ago. We have a very diverse school. We have 12 departments, essentially. We're the biggest school on campus. We have the most students compared to other schools on campus. And we have the most majors and all sorts of other disciplines in our school. So we're very diverse. We also have a good diverse student body, a lot of first-generation students, a lot of students from local communities as well as distant communities. And they often find that this is a place they feel comfortable in. It feels like home to them. They have people with similar backgrounds they can interact with. And it's a good place. But in the school, with all our disciplines, we study everything you can read up there, everything from the basics of things like how the brain functions to how our neurons fire. We study things like cognitive disorders, like learning disabilities. We study psychiatric disorders. We study health. We study society. We also have people in the humanities and arts with everything from dance to visual arts, to history, to critical race and ethnic studies. We have people doing work in political science, people doing work in other areas like economics and management, business. So it's quite broad. And what's good about this is they're all under one school. And so you can walk the halls and talk to a political scientist, and right next door are the sociologists. You might go off and talk to the artists, but it's a good place to connect with a variety of different disciplines. So this is you over there in the left-hand corner, at least on my screen, and you can be part of this. One other unique thing about our campus in general, but Shaw in particular, is that there's lots of opportunities for research or research-related work for our undergraduate students. I remember when I was an undergraduate, there weren't those kinds of opportunities. It was a very large campus, and the research faculty were all very busy, and there wasn't a lot of opportunities for students to actually engage with the faculty one-on-one on research projects and research-related work. So there are those opportunities here, and a great deal of our students do that. Doing that kind of stuff helps you with learning, gives you some fun experiences, but also it helps your resume for things you may want to do in the future. It teaches you skill sets, and people reviewing your resumes, whether it's for a job or for graduate school, it looks good, and it's something that you really should do if you get the opportunity. You can do research with faculty, you can get independent study credits. Some of our undergraduates are even paid to do research in labs. You can volunteer and not get credits or money, but you just engage in the experience, and I hear lots of positive feedback from students. A lot of undergraduate students work with faculty on research-related matters. They actually publish papers in scientific journals and get lots of kind of acknowledgement for that. We have awards for students' research. We have a student research magazine, all kinds of things that you can get out and explore. Some of our research-related work deals with field work and community engagement too. That's another big push on our campus. One of our campus's missions is to engage the community. And that means things like we give feedback to the community, we take our research and apply it to real life problems out there, particularly locally. And also those means getting feedback from our community. So many of our faculty and our staff reach out to the community to hear from them about the kinds of projects or things that are important to them. And we take that out into the lab and back out to the community. It's kind of a cycle that goes on, and you can be part of that as well. We have a community work that also is kind of advocacy work, social justice work, things that like that might interest you as well. But all this is good for you in terms of your training and education, and like I said, also in terms of your plans for the future. I used to remember the statistics, and I can't recall them off the top of my head. Maybe someone here with us knows the numbers, but a good number of our students go on to grad school. It could be like a basic applied kind of degree where they actually learn how to do a specific skill, but it's a postgraduate degree and it's something that they do. Maybe it takes them a year. Some people go off and get a master's degree. Some people go off and get a doctorate degree. Some of our students go off and go into medicine school and things like that as well. In fact, if I recall, this was some years ago, but I heard a statistic that the percentage of our undergraduate students that go to some form of graduate school is only behind that of UC Berkeley. And I think in part that's because we get a lot of individual attachment to our students. We give them lots of research opportunities, and they take that further after they graduate with their bachelor's degree. Up here's some centers and institutes that we have on campus. A lot of these are directly tied to Shaw, but some of them also more broadly tied to the campus overall. We have a couple of new centers coming up. One is a neuroscience center. Another one is a Center for Africana Studies. These centers are like collectives of faculty, researchers, students that kind of focus on some certain subject. So like the Humanities Center, they study things related to humanities and the arts. They do a lot of activities, presentations, talks. They even do things like artistic shows and plays and things like that, faculty connected to that center. We have something called The Wave. I hope that you can come and see that. But it's a big, huge room that has like a 3D projection, a virtual reality cave, as sometimes it's called, where you can manipulate objects and see things in 3D. And it's really kind of a fun thing to go through. And you can see the other things, but basically what these are collections of people with similar interests. They involve faculty across all different disciplines that come together to focus on shared interests. It also involves faculty from other schools, the School of Natural Science and the School of Engineering on our campus. So if you were to come here, you can engage with these people and get to learn a real interdisciplinary perspective on all the things that we're doing. So I think this might be close to my last slide, and you can go to the next slide. But before I part here, I'm going to hang out. I'm going to turn my camera off. I'm going to hang out. I just wanted to say something that I remember. I have kids, and I remember being a parent, looking at colleges for my children. And one thing that was always in the back of my mind are things like, well, besides cost, right? But beyond cost, it was also things like safety, culture, the presence of faculty that were going to engage with my kids and really pay attention and help them out if they needed help. And I can tell you sincerely that this school is the place that I would send my kids. It's got a good, safe community. The students and the faculty and the staff support each other. Remember, we're a new university campus pretty much. And so all of us had to come together to build this place. This is our home and we build it. And you can come here and continue to help us build a new campus. You can have a voice in the student senate. You can have a voice in student committees and groups, and have a voice on campus about what campus should have. Other campuses that are more mature, that opportunity is a little bit less than it is here. So I hope that you will come. And I know next, I think, is Brenda. And I think Brenda's going to talk to you a bit more about specific stuff, like majors and so on. So Brenda, I'm going to give the floor to you.
Thank you, Jeff. Hello, everybody. My name is Brenda Maldonado Rosas. I'm Director of Student Services for our school. I'm going to present to you different opportunities that you have as an undergraduate student to not only help you through your educational career here at UC Merced to be successful, but also upon graduating. So in front of you, you have a diagram that shows you many different job titles, if you will. What can you do upon graduating UC Merced with a Shaw major? What career and job fields do you have as options? So really the possibilities are endless. As you can see in the diagram with just a snippet of the many options you would have, education, the medical field, data analysis, a lawyer, business operations, accounting. Again, the possibilities are really endless. So you have many options with your career options upon graduating UC Merced with a Shaw degree. Here you can see some alumni spotlights, which are students who graduated from UC Merced with a Shaw degree. You can see the different majors that they obtained while being a UC Merced student, as well as the career that they are currently in upon, again, having graduated UC Merced. So as you can see, it really varies from health to librarian, fire tech, to professors of law even. So again, really, you have many options. Within our school, we have or offer 16 majors, 32 really options if you consider the different BA and BS, as well as the emphasis options that some of our majors offer, as well as 20 minors. On your screen, you'll see some that are bolded. What those mean is those are new options that will become available to students starting this upcoming fall 2024 semester. So there's different emphasis options or options within political science as well as sociology. And Here you'll see different areas of study within the humanities and the arts, with, again, a new option becoming available this upcoming fall semester with our environmental humanities major and minor that are going to launch very soon. As a student, as Jeff was mentioning earlier, you do have options to conduct research, but you also have options and opportunities to partake in internships and extracurricular experiences to continue to build and grow the knowledge and the insight that you are gaining in the classroom to start applying it hands-on. So some options are honors programs. There's different honors programs that are offered within our school. Our majors in literatures and English, history, psychology, political science, and cognitive science is launching an honors program very soon. There's also what's called the University of California, Washington Center, or more commonly referred to as UCDC. This program allows students to be for a semester in Washington, DC. While they're there, students are taking classes, but they're also partaking in an internship in an office within Washington, DC. Again, gaining hands-on experience. There's University of California, Sacramento, which is a very similar program to UCDC, but that is housed within or at Sacramento here in our state. Students are able to earn academic credit for internships that they may be completing and have that academic credit potentially apply to their major or their minor requirements. Students are also able to study abroad for a semester or a quarter, depending on how the program abroad is set up, and live in another country and take courses at an institution in that country that they're at, and have those courses again apply to their academic record here at UC Merced. Like Jeff mentioned, research opportunities with faculty in Shaw via the UROC program. That's the campus-wide university program for research, allowing students to work very closely with faculty and again, continue to gain and hands-on experience. There's Center for the Humanities as well, where students can continue to develop and grow their skill set within the broad spectrum of the humanities. Also, we have a lot of students that are majoring within our school, but are completing a minor in natural sciences education. So the name can be a little misleading because it can be interpreted as someone wanting to teach the sciences in a K-12 setting, but that's not necessarily the case. Again, many of our Shaw majors do have a minor declared within natural sciences education because they are working to prepare and be able to enter the education field upon graduating from UC Merced. So that's just a very brief example or some examples of the different organizations or options students have here at UC Merced that really allow them to continue to expand their writing, oral presentation, networking skills, as well as leadership and teamwork. Students are also or receive support via the Student Career Center to assist them in preparing them to enter the workforce upon graduating. So within the Student Career Center, there is a Shaw Career Specialist who works closely with students who are majoring within our school to, again, help them be more ready to enter the workforce, or for those that are wanting to go on to graduate school, helping them through that application process. The Student Career Center offers different programming to assist students, one of them being Careers with Shaw Degrees. This is a program that has students or previous Shaw students, so Shaw alumni, sharing and providing their experiences as Shaw students and upon entering the workforce in terms of what that experience was like for them, as well as letting current students know the different options that are available to them careers wise. There's always a career and internship fair that again assists students with becoming aware of the different options that they do have available to them for internships and as well as jobs for those that are close to graduating. There's also graduate school fair for those students that are again interested in pursuing a master's degree or doctorate degrees. And there's also a career professional development series that is available to students. Next, I will hand it over to my colleague, Carolyn Barranco, so she can, and our students to take part in the student panel. Carolyn.
Thank you, Brenda. Hello, and thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. My name is Carolyn Barranco, and I am an academic advisor and student engagement coordinator for Shaw. With us today, as we learned, we have a group of students who are also peer navigators within our school, and I will hand it to them to introduce themselves before we jump over to our Q&A portion of today's presentation. So Berenice, do you want to go ahead and start off with your introduction?
Yes. Hello, my name is Berenice Aguirre. I'm currently working on my BA in psychology and also my natural science education minor.
My name is Helen Jimenez. I am currently doing my management and business economics BS major at UC Merced.
Hi, my name is Lauren Tang, and I'm currently a political science major and minoring in management and business economics.
Thank you to all of you. And to kind of shift gears a little bit, we figured it would be a good idea to kind of learn a little bit of the student perspective side of things and what it is to be a student within Shaw and within UC Merced. So we do have a couple questions to ask our student panel. One of them being, and again, this is open to any one of you, Lauren, Berenice, or Helen, to respond, is what brought each of you to UC Merced?
I can go ahead and answer. I chose Merced as my path because it was a small school and it was still relatively new. And I like that because even though it was new and it was small, I did see that it was very diverse. And I also noticed the amount of opportunities that like UC Merced holds for its students. And I also like that it's like surrounded by nature.
Thank you, Berenice.
I can go next. For me, what brought me to UC Merced was how small the campus was with like, you can get a one-on-one and know your professor on a personal level rather than your professor not knowing you like at other institutions where it's like 1,000 students and then a professor. You're not going to get that experience that you get here at UC Merced. And I like that it's a small campus and it's growing each year. That's why I chose UC Merced.
Thank you. So you feel like your relationships are a little bit more meaningful because of how small the campus is, correct?
Yeah, I like that about high school, and I wanted to go to a college that was the same environment.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Helen. Lauren, do you want to share a little bit about your perspective?
Yes, so for me, the main reason that brought me to UC Merced was my older sister. She graduated in 2022, and she just seemed to really love the school and the community she found here at UC Merced. And I really wanted that in my college experience. So, so far I've experienced that with that close and very strong community here at the UC. And, you know, like Helen said too, you know, I was transitioning from a very small high school to a bigger college, but I think coming to UC Merced, it kind of feels that way where you can get to know your professors and you get to know your classmates, and it just, I felt that very same environment that I did back in high school.
Great. Thank you for answering that, Lauren. And I agree with you both, right? Connecting with professors, and because of the small campus, I think allows you to form more of those meaningful relationships. So thank you all for sharing. A follow-up question is, what have you found interesting, affirming, or surprising about learning or doing research or teaching in Shaw?
For me, something I found surprising about Shaw was how accessible it is to do research with a professor. Like any professor in any major, but specifically in Shaw, you have that opportunity to do research with your professor. Like I know many colleges have that opportunity, but it's more competitive. And here, if you know the professor, it's like more flexible and you have that opportunity to learn regardless. So that's why I found it surprising.
I'd like to add on to what Helen said. I think our professors are very welcoming and they actually care for what for us to learn important knowledge that will help us develop in our professional careers.
Thank you. And
Yeah, and
another,
oh,
oh,
sorry.
go ahead. Sorry, Lauren, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I was just gonna mention that I also agree, and I just wanted to touch more on working within Shaw, and I found the work environment to be very encouraging, just working within the School of Shaw, but also with the advisors. It's just very refreshing working in an environment where they're very affirming and they encourage us both professionally and working creatively as well.
Perfect. Thank you. What are some campus or school resources that you have found especially helpful to your success as a student at UC Merced?
For me, one campus resource that I have found very helpful for my success is the Student Plus Center, which is peer-led tutoring sessions for different Shaw courses.
I have a few campus resources that I found useful throughout my school years at UC Merced. One was the Bobcat Pantry. It allows students that don't have access to food, students that live off campus, to have resources on campus for school. And another one was the Professional Clothing Closet, where you rent out professional clothes if you don't have any or don't have the funds, or you can't go off campus to go buy clothes. So I feel like having that on campus and having that accessible to students is very great. And the Career Center, as in, helped me with build my resume and helped me with cover letters and also do mock interviews. So I feel like those three resources really helped me throughout my success at UC Merced.
Thank you, Helen. Lauren, I see you unmute yourself.
Yeah, so some of the resources that I have found helpful has been definitely we've emphasized with professors is definitely their office hours too. I feel like they're very accessible and it has been very available, or has been very helpful for me specifically in my academic career. But another resource that even Bernice mentioned was Plus Center. I know that has been very helpful in some of my classes. And another resource was the Writing Center. For me, I know that sometimes I struggle with writing, and it is kind of student led, where you meet with a peer as well, and so they kind of know what they're talking about, and they also have been through some of those classes that I've taken, and so they kind of know how the professor goes or just how the class is going. So that has been very helpful for me as well.
Thank you. And thank you for naming all of these amazing resources. This is just a few of the many resources that UC Merced has to offer. And I appreciate Helen, Berenice, and Lauren for sharing that with the audience. And one more question for you all. What opportunities do you have here that is nowhere else?
I can go first. For me, an opportunity that I found here at UC Merced was networking, only because the school and the campus, like I said before, is it's so small and you have that connection or relationship with that professor and amongst also the classmates, because the classes are all small and you can network with every student in that class, which is something that you don't even get the opportunity at other institutions, because it's you and a thousand more students. But for me, networking has helped me a lot with organizations. I learned about clubs and stuff like that, so I feel like that helped me, and that's something I really appreciate about UC Merced.
For me, I guess it was the opportunity of actually getting to know my professors, since we do have smaller classrooms, and it's just nice to get to know them one-on-one and be able to meet with them more often, since they do have less students. And it's nice that there is enough office hours to go to them whenever we need help.
And then I would say that the ability to work within Shaw and also be a student has been very helpful and has been a great opportunity to me. UC Merced has a lot of opportunities for students to work at the school and also work around our schedules, which I am very grateful for. As a student, it's very necessary to work, to support ourselves financially. But Shaw and UC Merced understand that, first and foremost, we are students. And just like as Jeff mentioned earlier, like a fun opportunity would be that, Yosemite is only 2 hours away. And so if I didn't go to UC Merced, I probably wouldn't have gone to Yosemite as often as I do.
Thank you. Thank you,
So,
Lauren. And
Can I add
oh,
one more thing to the
yeah, of
question?
course. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so there's another thing that you can do as a student here at UC Merced, and it's the opportunity to make a change at UC Merced. There's a lot of organizations that were founded by a student back in 2005, and they made like a stepping stone here at UC Merced. So like any student is allowed to create anything here. Like you have that freedom to make your own organization or club. Like you can grow here at Merced and become a leader, if that makes sense. We have that opportunity.
It definitely makes sense. And I like that you added that additional point, just because the idea of student success goes beyond the classroom itself, right? So it's connecting with instructors, it's building yourself as a student in a more holistic approach, and advocating for yourself, but also knowing that the institution is willing to hear you as a student, I think is just as equally as important. So I want to thank all of you, Lauren, Berenice, and Helen, for taking the time to talk a little bit about your experience as a student, and what drew you to UC Merced and Shaw. So thank you again. With that being said, that concludes the end of my portion of the presentation, and I will go ahead and hand it over to Ricky.
Thank you so much, Carolyn, and to all of our student panelists. It's always such a special insight that they can offer being a current Bobcat. So thank you all so much for that information that you shared with our audience tonight. And just a quick reminder, if you have not yet sent in your question, go ahead and do so now. You can click on the Q&A button, send that question in. We're fully staffed behind the scenes, and also I will be getting to those questions right now. So if anyone who plans to answer, if you would like to come on screen with me, that would be great. We would enjoy having as many faces as possible online here. The first question that I'm going to toss out, what is the honors program?
I can answer that. The honors program is programs available with certain majors in our school where students take more engaged, more research based courses that ultimately could result in their degree being awarded an honors designation. Generally, there's a research project of some sort that is part of being in the honors program, and students work very closely with a faculty member or sponsor in conducting the research and building and completing that research project throughout. Generally, it's a year long. Typically, the honors program within our majors take place during the last year a student is at UC Merced, but there have been some students who complete the honors program during their third year.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Let's take a look. We have so many questions coming in. You guys just keep those rolling in. We'd love to get to those tonight. So let's go ahead and talk about some majors and minors. How do students end up signing up for those?
Students to declare a minor can do so as early as their first year. It's an electronic form that UC Merced students have access to, and they fill it out indicating the minor that they want to declare, and really they just need to be in good academic standing to be able to do so. Some students declare 2 minors. We've even seen some students complete 3 minors. So you can definitely add 1 and still graduate within your 4 years at UC Merced, as well as even like adding 2 or 3. So
fantastic. And then I know we spoke a little bit about the Career Center. We have a question asking if we offer on-campus jobs.
do offer on-campus jobs. The students you just heard from are actually student employees. So they are UC Merced students, and their job is assisting our office, but more importantly, working and providing support to other undergraduate students through their educational time and career here at UC Merced.
Perfect. And now going back into the major question, specifically within political science, do we offer specializations?
I could help with that, Brenda. Sorry.
No apologies. Take it on.
Great, thank you. So we offer what we call an emphasis, right? So students can major in political science as a BA, and this of course goes for both major and minor. And from that, they could emphasize in either completing a emphasis in American politics, comparative politics, international relationships, and law and policy as well.
Great. And then this one's also related to political science, so we'll go here. So if you'd like to major within political science to be in international relations, could you study abroad for all 4 years?
Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. You wouldn't be able to study abroad all 4 years. We have seen some students study abroad for 1 year, but studying abroad for 4 years is not very likely to occur. But generally students go for 1 semester, and like I said, we have seen some students go for a full year to be abroad.
Very good. And then we also have some questions coming in that might be more directed to our student panel. So if some of them would like to come on and answer some of these. So the next one I will ask you, what or who was the most helpful to your success at UC Merced so far?
I can go ahead and answer that. For me, it would have to be my professor, my economics professor. I've met him my first year, and he's always pushed me to like step out of my comfort zone and do all these programs. Like currently, I just applied for a investment program that he partakes. He told me to apply for it, and I did. So I just need to hear back on that. And so he's helping me a lot with like my career path wise. So I really appreciate him a lot. So I'm honestly, professors do help you in the long run if you have that great connection with them.
Wonderful. And I'll pause in case anyone else would like to come on and answer. Otherwise, the next question that I'll toss out is, what is the best part of being a UC Merced Bobcat?
I can answer that one. Yeah, so for me, I think the best part is, like I mentioned before, that sense of community. You know, your classes are somewhat smaller, some of them might be bigger, but I've had the chance to meet with a lot of my classmates, and now they've become close friends of mine. And so we have this like really strong and close community here at UC Merced, which I found very helpful, just, you know, making my college experience a lot more, just a lot more fun and just more enjoyable, along with all the academics that come with it.
Very good. Again, I'll pause for just a moment in case any of our other student panelists would like to come on screen and address any questions. And I will also toss out one more that is specific to our students. How do you manage to have a balance between your work life, your school life, and life as a student, but also have some time to socialize or maybe even travel?
I can answer that. For me, since my courses and my work schedule has always been very like troubling to balance, since I've always had my jobs throughout my whole 4 years or my full 3 years of college right now. So what really helped me like practice that was having a Google Calendar, like the mobile app on your phone, Google Calendar, and mark down your days. Like for me, I have like specific times for when I have this class, and then when I have gaps, I have either work or I do my homework during those gaps. Like there's always enough time to do. But for me, it's like Monday through Friday, it's like related to school and work. And weekends, it's specifically for like my free time or hang out with friends. So that's how I balance my life. But also it could be different depending on your courses and what time you have your classes.
Very good. Thank you so much, Helen. And we'll go ahead and move on to the next question, a bit more academic based. So does Merced offer any human resource majors or programs? I'll welcome anyone back to the screen that may want to answer that one. Hi, Brenda.
Can you repeat it? I'm sorry.
Of course. Does UC Merced offer any human resources in majors or programs?
We don't have a human resources major. Probably as close to that you may come, but I would say it's going to be definitely a stretch. Might be our management and business economics major. But again, that would be a very far stretch. We don't have what you would call like a human resources degree, unfortunately, at our campus.
And when we talk about research, are we having any type of expectation of our incoming students to have experience already within research, or are we able to kind of train them from the beginning?
They don't have to have any, oops, sorry, I thought I froze. They don't have to come in with any experience in research. They could essentially gain their experience throughout their time at UC Merced with working with a faculty member. So no experience is necessary or needed.
I can add just a little bit to that for just a second. The way undergraduates get into research on campus is, it's already been mentioned. One way is get to know your professor, maybe it's during an office hour and you talk about his or her research and they offer you something or see if you're interested. But another real common way is when you take a class from a professor, the professor recognizes maybe your skill set or your interest, and so you connect that way. But there's never any real expectation that you have a great background. There are some higher level research opportunities that you do need background for, so you wouldn't hit those until your third or fourth year. But there's a lot of stuff that nothing's expected. And part of it is to train you and teach you things in the lab or in the community. And then you become more skilled and then you go to the next step. So again, I encourage you to come here and try that out.
Fantastic. Our next question, moving on to some of our newer majors, we have a question where they're asking, would there be any type of uncertainty of class availability if it's a new major?
No. So part of a new major launching incorporates the courses that are needed to complete that major being offered. So that also applies for our current majors. So no.
Great. And then moving into the area of transfer students, is there anything in particular that you would want to give in terms of words of advice or maybe course recommendations for transfer students before they come to UC Merced? Of course, we know that that can be pretty specific too. So I will just toss out to everyone that you would definitely want to set up a time to meet with either an academic advisor or use some of the online resources to look at courses as well. But in this setting, do we have any general advice that we can offer our transfer students tonight?
Very generally speaking, definitely connect with an admissions advisor for admission requirements and qualifications, but very generally speaking, it is very helpful for any student transferring to UC Merced in into a Shaw major to have full IGETC certification. That will ensure that all of the GE requirements that must be completed to obtain your UC Merced degree, those that can be satisfied with lower division requirements can be completed before you even get to UC Merced, leaving you generally with just upper division GE requirements. So definitely having IGETC, full IGETC certification is a strong recommendation. Also completing as many articulated courses in your intended or for your intended major at your community college or colleges if you've attended more than one prior to coming to UC Merced, so that you have as many of your major lower division prep courses completed, so that when you get to UC Merced, you can ideally just focus on your upper division, higher level, if you will, courses.
Great. And can we talk a moment about internships that may be available? How would students find out more about those? And do we have any that we can give as an example?
There's many different internships that are available. We highly recommend working with Shaw Career Specialist. Not only are they able to assist you in finding internships, but they can also assist you in preparing for any interviews that may be part of the internship obtaining process. Some that I'm aware of are Maddie Institute has an internship that is available to our UC Merced students, where the students are essentially working with a congressman or woman, and they are again getting hands-on experience in Congress related matters and workings day in and day out, daily tasks that they do. And that one actually requires students to earn academic credit in order to participate in that internship. So that's one that I'm aware of. Our psychology faculty have a newer internship, if you will, where they work with a community organization and have students working at that community center and working with individuals of our Merced community, as well as students earning academic credit. And there's different similar, but obviously different internships that are put on together or put on by our sociology faculty. So those are some. In the past, to my knowledge, some students have interned at finance or financial institutions while they're earning. One was a management and business economics major, another was an economics major. So there's really a broad spectrum of different internship opportunities available to students. And some of them do require students to be declared in a specific major, but there are definitely many that don't require students to be declared in a specific major to be able to partake in it.
And then just to add to that, ways to also find out about internships. Shaw does a good job at sending out this information also to students via their emails. So whether that be through like our Shaw newsletter, biweekly newsletter, our social media platforms, those are other ways in which we also make students aware of the internships that are available within our campus or out too.
Very good. And then I know we've had a few questions come on, and so I just want to mention this and drop a link over into the chat box for the recording of this event, because we are recording this tonight and we always do our best to get them recorded and posted as an instant replay on demand with our YouTube channel. And you can find those links available on the events page. So I dropped that into chat so you can click on that at your convenience, bookmark that page. It is a very important website because that's also where you will find other events that we have already had for those on-demand replays, as well as all of the future events. And we are averaging right now about 3 to 4 events every single week through the end of November. And some of those will be specific to the UC admission application. So if you are in that process right now, because we are open for submission through November 30th, 11:59 Pacific time, if you do need any help with that, you definitely want to take full advantage of those webinars. They're about an hour long and you can come with all of your questions and we can get to those live. All right, I did drop that over into the chat box so you can take a look there. The next question coming in, does the psychology program extend to industrial or organizational research?
Gilger.
So
I'm in the psychology department, so I think that's why I'm being picked on. Psychology is a kind of field that if you get a bachelor's in the area, you can do all kinds of things that you may think aren't even related to psychology. So a lot of industries look for people that have psychology backgrounds. And psychology is not the clinical stuff only that you might think of. It's not just patients and helping people that have depression and things like that. We have a strong what's called health psychology group. They study health-related issues. So everything as to why people have blood pressure problems, to why they choose to eat certain foods, and all the psychology behind that. We have what's called a quantitative psychology department, or I should say chunk of people in the department. And actually, it's one of the biggest quantitative psychology departments in the state of California. I think it's the biggest in the UC system. Some very well-known people. They do all this fancy math stuff and theorems and teach statistics, and most of it I don't understand, but they're very famous and very good people. And then we have the developmental psychology group, which does a lot of work with everyone from young babies or pre-birth, even through old age now. And they study how kids develop, what kinds of issues they may have, family dynamics, all sorts of things like that. So with a degree like that, yes, you can go off and do a lot of different things that you might not even imagine. And industries are looking for people with psychology degrees.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dean Gilger. The next question they're asking is, how does the study abroad process work, and how may that benefit them in one of our programs here within SHOP?
I could help with that question. So for students interested in going abroad, one of the first steps we encourage students to do is to meet with a study abroad advisor. With meeting with the study abroad advisor, they would be able to gain more information related to the programs that will be offered, locations in which abroad programs will also be offered in. With that, of course, they are also in need of meeting with an academic advisor to go over the academic planning form, which is what we refer to when students are planning out what courses they're going to be taking while abroad. And that's a very, very general scope in terms of what those steps look like. But nonetheless, the first step would be to meet with an academic study abroad advisor, followed up with their assigned academic advisor to gain a little bit more information related to the courses and how those could apply towards their major or elective units in general. And from there, we would provide them with that information too. Brenda, feel free to add anything that I may be missing.
The only other thing is definitely working with a study abroad advisor throughout the entire process, because they are the experts in study abroad experience from application through when a student returns from being abroad is something that I would highly recommend as well.
Perfect. All right. Well, we do have time for just about one more question. Let me go ahead and grab it here. All right. So this one's actually being directed to our students. So if we have some student panelists who would also like to join us on screen as we're getting ready to wrap up a bit here. So the question is, in what way has UC Merced exceeded your expectations and helped you at this point? Hi, Helen.
Hi. For me, it's all the opportunities, honestly, because I'm very shy, and allowing me like the opportunities of networking, because I've put myself out there not because I want to, but my friends pushed me. And when I did that, I met so many new students, and that gave me the opportunity to network with a lot of students. Like half of all my friends have internships, and then I ask them questions like, oh, how did you get it? How can I prepare? Like that helps me expand myself, like improve myself, something that I never expected in the long run.
Are there any tips that you would give people or potential students who are interested in coming to the campus here at UC Merced, since we're not located just a few minutes away from a very large city, for instance, if we were in the Bay Area?
I can answer that question too, actually.
Great.
Yeah, so I'm actually from the Bay Area, and so it definitely was a change. But I think that's kind of the charm about Merced, is that it is smaller, and it may not be as busy as the Bay Area or a larger city, but I think there's some charm in it, and there's so much going on in Merced. The community is always there, and it's always growing. And I feel like even people that are from Merced, like they love the area, and they it's home to them. And so I think like for students to just if you explore a little bit about Merced, different parts I've never been to, you'll find so much character, and you'll just learn to love Merced.
Honestly, for me, it was making friends. Like, sure, you're not in the Bay Area, or you're not used to not being out here. Like, how would I explain it? Like here out in nature, or like, if so put it, if you have friends, anything is fun. Like you can go out to thrifting. There's a lot of events here at Merced and also on campus that allow you to bring your friends and have fun. Like you don't even feel it. I've been here for 3 years, and it's honestly really good. So I feel like just having friends, and don't be scared to like go out and talk to people.
Thank you so much. And I'll add just a bit to that as well. Even though we are maybe smaller in comparison to Bay Area cities, we still do have around 90,000 residents here in the city of Merced. We do have all of the conveniences of a large city. So we have all of the big box stores if you need to go shopping. We have many different eateries that are popular in other big towns as well. It could range from anything from a sit-down restaurant to a fast food drive-through type place. And of course, we also have Lake Yosemite that's right down the street from the campus itself. And so maybe it's a 5-minute walk or so. You can just take a stroll there. We are surrounded by nature out at the campus. So if you haven't yet actually taken a campus tour and actually made your way to town, we definitely encourage you to do that. I'm going to drop the link over in the chat box for that as well, so you can take a look. We do also offer on that website, we have drone tours, so you can take a campus tour right from the comfort of your living room. And we actually have a new and improved version of that is going to be released very soon, so stay tuned for that. But we also have the campus tours here in person, and really you just can't get the full effect and full feeling unless you actually step foot on our beautiful, high-tech, modern campus that still offers you the serenity and the peace of having a lot of green spaces that are here. So we highly recommend that you take some time, take a little road trip, and visit us here in person. All right, well, we are getting closer to the end here. We do have a contact slide we'd like to share with you so that you can take a screenshot of some of our social media platforms and other contact information. And while we have that up, before I go through that slide, I'd like to just offer the floor to any of our presenters who may like to offer some last words of advice today.
Definitely check your emails, but more importantly, make sure you are connecting with people on campus. So your academic advisor is going to be one of the best resources you can have at UC Merced. Anywhere really you go to, wherever you end up going to complete your undergraduate career. But making connections, staying in connection and in contact with staff on campus that really are there to support you. And like I said, check your emails, because that's where you get important information, as well as anything that you may need to take an action on.
Great tips. Carolyn, did you have some last words tonight?
So definitely echoing what Brenda said in terms of check your emails, meet with your academic advisor, have fun. You're in college only for so long, so definitely make it one of the best experiences. Connect with your faculty. They are a great resource. I know that opened a lot of doors for me personally during my undergrad. But yes, check your emails.
Fantastic advice. It bears repeating a third time. Check your emails. We don't want you to miss out on any of the important information that we are sending out. And of course, this is a great time to grab your smartphone, take a picture of the slide that's in front of you now. It has all of our admissions social media platforms, and so we highly recommend that you follow at least one or two of those so that you can also stay informed with little reminders about important dates and deadlines, like the UC admission application that is currently underway. You can go ahead and submit that right away. It is open through November 30th, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. So don't wait until the last minute. Go ahead and start that soon. And like I mentioned, use that link over in the chat box for the events page. Watch some of the previous events that you may have missed on the on-demand instant replay on YouTube, or get yourself registered for a future event. We do have a couple others coming up. So just like the one tonight for Shaw, we also have School of Natural Science coming up, as well as School of Engineering. So it'll be very similar to tonight's event, where you will learn everything that you need to know about those specific programs and schools that we have here. And you will also have an opportunity once again to ask your important questions to get those answered live. Once again, a big thank you tonight for all of the panelists that were behind the scenes, for Dean Gilger for joining us here, for Brenda and Carolyn, for all of our fantastic student panelists. As I said, they always offer such great insight that only they can offer as current Bobcats here at UC Merced. My name once again is Ricky Hill, your e-recruiter. I am so excited that you were here tonight, and I look very much forward to seeing you once again, or maybe even in person with an on-campus tour. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night, everyone.